first of all, congratulations on the show. Um,
Thank you.
I've actually seen everything you've been in, which is you know, it's fun when you know someone's like filmography because you can kind of chart like what's happening and even you're still reasonably new in the industry, but you have multiple movies you've been the lead of, or at least one, two, three on the call sheet. How when you decide you want to branch out and try something you haven't done, what do you look for? Because you obviously, have done a handful of things, but also there's still a lot that you haven't done.
That is a really good question. Should I just go straight into the
Yeah,
answer?
yeah, no, well, someone will figure out how to edit this.
Cool. Um, well, I mean, before I choose what I want to do, I audition my ass off. And then, I mean, for me, Cruel Summer was a given because I've always been searching for something in the 90s, and I just think this show is the project of my dreams, to be able to film something that takes place in a decade I wish I was uh, a teenager in, like my character is, and it helps me live vicariously through that. So it was a no-brainer, and I love my character with my whole heart, and I loved her ever since I had my first audition for this show. So this show was like the greatest gift on earth.
I mean, and it's a kind of a cool thing when you think about, obviously not everyone plays age appropriate, but that's just welcome to Hollywood. But you've played teenagers in various decades. Like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is way back, and this is
Yeah.
the 90s. And then even something, like All These Small Moments is way, modern, but there's still a very, interesting through line of like being a teenager is still kind of the same thing. You're still either a part of a group or not a part of a group. And, the surrounding technology and what you're wearing kind of changes, but not a whole lot else necessarily does. So it must be interesting playing that when you're like, I've done this, but I've done it differently.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never thought about it that way. I mean, it is. It's like, during the 90s, there were obviously different challenges than there are today. No concerns about social media and stuff, which I wish I could live like that. But I think being in the 90s allows for it to be so much more real, because I do kind of think that being a teenager in this day and age, a lot of the time you could be hiding behind your phone. I definitely did when I was in high school. And it kind of keeps you from connecting. I mean, there are various challenges to growing up now. And I think during the 90s, without that sort of technology, you just were able to have a much realer connection with people, and more straight up conversations. My character is extremely confrontational and straight up. And I mean, a version of her can absolutely exist in this time as well, but I think she's able to be so confident in her actions too, because there aren't those distractions that we have now, and she's just able to fully embrace who she is and not be concerned about stupid shit like Instagram or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm old enough that I think I am like count as a child in the 90s. Like I was born 87. So I even
Cool.
just remember no, it's not cool. I remember as a kid, just like, when you go to bed, I would read, or I would, that was just like a thing. And,
Yeah.
Now I look on my phone, or I have a podcast on or something. Like it is a lot harder to not be, you're not present in a way, even though you're connected to everything. Like, you go on vacation, you want to know what's going on in the world. Like, no, you're supposed to be removed from the world when you're doing that. And I think it's an interesting thing to see in characters, because we don't think about it necessarily. Okay, I'm playing a teenager, I'm playing a serial killer, I'm playing a monkey, whatever you're playing,
Yeah.
I need to find the truth of that character. But, the times they live in does inform that character. You drop a teenager into, 1960, with a modern sensibility, and they're going to wonder why everything is so slow and why no one's like worried about
Mm.
anything. And if you did the opposite, everything would be super fast and nobody would be paying attention. And it is an interesting thing that you notice when you only notice when it's not done well. If the character just
Yeah.
seems like, that character is not, it's a movie character, it's a TV character, it doesn't feel real. And I think you guys
Mm.
all do a very good job of making it feel real.
Thank you. I also, you're making a lot of interesting points.
Helps that I'm praising you, but still,
well, thank you for that too. But no, it is, it's definitely something to take into consideration when building a character. I mean, for sure, take into consideration, but it definitely informed a lot about how my character would work in the world and operate in the world, based on the time that she's alive in.
For sure. I mean, and you guys even shot it during a unique time in the world. So that's, a thing that I'm sure could be a factor, but you never would know watching. But like even the little bits of like, oh, I'm shooting in a place where I don't live. Everyone does that. That should never be a problem. But also like the world is kind of ending at the same time, and leaving your house can kill you. Like, how does that factor in, or how do you
Yeah.
keep it from factoring in?
It was super bizarre. It took a while to adjust to, for sure. We were getting COVID tests 3 times a week. And the way that the set operated was, is just totally different. So it's really kind of like a new skill that you have to learn to work on a set during this time, because I knew nothing knew nothing about how to operate during COVID. And I was already somebody who like had anxiety about like going to the grocery store and shit like that. So like suddenly being at your home to then like going to a whole entire stage, like
Yeah.
it's really crazy. But we were there for 6 months, and it got much easier as time went on and we all got used to it. But it's definitely something to adjust to. We were also there during like a snow apocalypse, so that sucked.
I mean, you're from California, so that's at least it's a novelty of like, ooh, snow. Oh wait, too much snow.
Yeah, it was a lot of snow, but it was a little too much snow.
Yeah, it's interesting though, because like 6 months in, everything kind of becomes the new normal, but it's still a serious thing you want to pay attention to, and like you were able to make fun of it with like Sun and Lockdown and things like that. But I'm sure like after that, you have your fun and you go, okay, by the way, that's all nonsense because nothing needs to happen. Like, don't do anything. No one needs to die. It's interesting how we all got into like our routines and found the new like I don't want to die routine, but you just did it in a new location while shooting a show.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was. I don't think I ever had an expectation of how to spend a pandemic, but it definitely was not what I would have expected. But I'm so grateful that I got to work during this crazy time, because it probably kept me from going insane. But it was lovely to have something to put all my energy and focus into. But yeah, it's just a whole different world working during COVID. It's weird.
And then once you you finish, are you someone who is able to watch what you do, or is it weird to see yourself on screen? Or has it changed over the years?
I definitely watch everything I do. But when I watch it, I'm like staring so like intensely, watching like every mannerism I have. So like it's
you're watching the performance.
Yeah, I'm very much like, you shouldn't have blinked at that second, or you shouldn't have like moved your left arm or whatever. But like,
you're taking notes.
Yeah, just taking notes for the future. I cannot. I have to watch what I do. I can't not. But I hate watching myself operate as myself. I cannot watch interviews of myself. It's so cringe to me, but I do like watching myself be different people.
Yeah, no, trust me, I would never edit this. I have someone else do it. I can't listen to myself.
No.
But no, I would imagine it's got to be, something that's a good skill to have, because you can't watch yourself do it. You know how it feels, and you trust the editor, the director, whoever, to tell you whether they're doing it right, and hopefully, they know what they want and all that, which is just part of acting. But you've also been able to watch yourself in performances kind of as a like just a thing that's a part of life over the years. That might also help of, oh, this was just a cute thing I did. I didn't realize it was like a job, and then it becomes, I want to do this as a job and I want to take this seriously. And that's also, I think, the thing that's very helpful of like, okay, I want this to be something I can be proud of. I can, do this for a living. It's work. It's fun. Like, who crazy I get paid to do this, but it's still work. I think, and the best actors, I think, still have that feeling. The ones who are like, oh, this is a job and I just do this and go home, you can tell.
It's insane. I feel so insanely lucky to be able to do this. It doesn't feel real. It's some sort of a dream. Like, even to work during a time like COVID, it still felt like the best thing in the world. There's no better feeling for me than being able to become a different person. But I feel so lucky to be able to do this, and it does feel insane that I get paid to make pretend, and like that people then see that sometimes. It's a weird thing to wrap your head around, for sure.
You're like, it's crazy. I'm not giving the money back, but also like crazy that they want to keep doing it. Great.
Like, I'll keep the money, but like it is weird.
Yeah. Just know that I feel weird about it.
I do feel weird.
Yeah.
Like, I would do it for free, but I will take the money if you're offering it.
Like, I would do it for free, but I would need rent and food taken care of. If you work that out, then I'm totally good to do it per gratis.
Absolutely.
when you look at, like, obviously you said you wanted to play a teenager, you wanted to do something in the 90s. Like, do you have sort of in the back of your mind a checklist of like, oh, if I can do this, if I can do that, like, script comes along that hits these things, like, I just want to be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, doing something in the 90s was a huge check for me. And I don't want it to be the end. I want to keep going in the 90s. I love it so much. But I mean, my biggest check, or I have not checked, but my biggest to-do item is to make a biopic about Courtney Love. So that's like, I mean, that's like the ultimate goal. That's the ultimate goal.
I mean, listen, they're gonna get there eventually. That's gonna happen. And hey, I mean, listen, by that time, at a certain point, you could also write it. There is that.
You have a great point there. You have a great point.
At a certain point, there, like, that happens a lot. Like, it's not, it's such a unique industry that you can be like, well, I want to be in this, and everyone goes, well, we don't care. You go, well, I also wrote it. We still don't care. Well, I wrote it and I found the money to make it. Oh, well, welcome, and now can show up. So,
that's so funny. That's really accurate, though.
As soon as that happens, suddenly everyone's like, no, you were perfect from the start. Don't worry about it. It's I mean, it's the quirk of the industry. But I mean, when you have that goal, also it's something to drive towards, and it means that you also can also sort of self-censor when you look at scripts and go, well, this is too close to that. And also, like, do I want to waste like that like bit of myself on a thing that'll make me go, well, I'm proud of this, but it wasn't what I really wanted to do. And like, you've never done that.
Yeah, that's a good point. You make a lot of good points.
You think more of me than my dog. He walked away during this interview.
Well, I think you're pretty cool.
Listen, I feed him, so he better think I'm cool. But I mean, as we wrap up, one, congratulations again, and as like I said, I've seen everything from when you were even a little kid and weren't really knowing you were acting. It's fun to watch someone like come into their own and it become like a fun thing I do with my family, to something I think I might want to do, to this is what I want to do for a living. And then to see like the talent follow along, because certainly that could, not always be the case, but, especially with the choices that you're making, you're challenging yourself and doing, like I said, some of the things that I've seen, like at the Tribeca Film Festival, when you pop up in a supporting role and it's, wow, this is a character done in a way I had never seen before. You get really excited to see what someone does next. And I feel like people are very excited to see what you do next.
That's so kind. Thank you. I try to find the things that will challenge me the most, because those are the things that bring me the most joy.
Yeah.
And I, yeah, this was Cruel Summer was the greatest challenge I've ever accepted, in the best way. And I don't really know what could be more challenging except for like playing Courtney Love,
Yeah.
but I accept all challenges coming my way.
I mean, maybe not with a pandemic next time, given the choice.
Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, like, I'd probably like that a bit more.
True. I gotta imagine that's like, as we wrap up, just like what a buzzkill to be like, I'm gonna go shoot in like Austin. What a fun spot to be in, like Texas, and have a good time. I can't leave the house. Okay, great. Couldn't this have shot in like Wyoming, where I didn't want to leave the house or something like that?
It was like a little bit of a buzzkill.
I'm sure you had the list. You're like, oh, I have all these places I want to go on like weekends when we're not shooting. Okay, we can go from the couch to the kitchen.
Literally, yeah. Very, very accurate. Yeah.
That's what we all were doing. Well, congratulations again. And I look forward to doing this, for the next thing. And I hope there comes a time when you're too big to do these and you're like, yeah, screw him, who cares?
You're so nice, but no. Thank you.
My pleasure. Congrats again.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Awesome.